I'm going to call the meeting to order, July 15th. Pledge allegiance to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. This time, we'll start with Jill, and we'll have an introduction of members.
Jill Dunlap, Westmead Township.
Jason Crawford, Woodcock Township.
Rob Horvath, Vernon Township. Joe Arnett, the Corps of Engineers at Woodcock Dam.
Evan Skornick, I'm the Northern Area Operations Manager for the Pittsburgh District Corps of Engineers. I'm located at Woodcock, but I go all around this region.
Maria Gates with Township. Michelle McCallum, Roy's office.
Fritz Snyder, Vernon Township. Christopher Soft, Crawford County Commission.
Eric Henry, Crawford County Commission.
Lyle Hubler, Salisbury Township. Okay. Public comments? Do we have any public comments this time? Hearing none. Administrative matters. I need a motion to approve the minutes of April 15th of 2021. It was enclosed in your packet.
I'll make that motion.
Rich, make a motion. Need a second by Renee. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Robbie, you're up with the treasurer's report, please.
Yep, you can see it in your packet there. Nothing really happened with it with the exception of the payment for the website hosting. And I can see it in there. We're now sitting at $5,242.86.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report, and then we'll do the ratify.
So moved.
Second by Renee. Okay. Any further discussion on the approval of the treasurer's report? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We need a motion to ratify the payment for $119.64. Right, Robbie?
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
Fritz?
Second.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Joe.
Just that quick, huh? Thank you all for inviting us. We were asked to come today to talk a little bit about Woodcock Township and invited us to talk about Woodcock. But now I have to say, don't open these. These are like the tests you got in school. You can't open them yet because it won't make sense until we go through it. So we're going to hit you with a brief history of the dam, the lake, what the Corps does for Woodcock Township. We'll open it up to some questions. And the opportunity is kind of timely because we have other business to conduct as well. So, anybody got one?
Over here.
So this won't be real time consuming, and everybody gets PowerPointed to death in today's world, I feel. So we want the handouts to make it brief and short. So going on to page 1. We are the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and a lot of people say, oh, so you're the Park Service, so you're the Forest Service, so you're state parks. No, we are not. The Game Commission, we're not the Fish Commission, those are both state agencies. We're not DCNR, we're not the state parks. Again, the state Forest Service under DCNR is not us, and the Allegheny National Forest, although it is federal, it is still not the Corps of Engineers, and we certainly are not the Park Service. Although it seems like every couple of years there's a rumor we're going to be pushed under the Park Service. It's never happened, like we never was. Who we are. Let's talk about page 3, who we are. World's largest public works agency, comprised of 35,000 civilians, 650 military personnel. That's an important stat that's going to play in a couple times as we go through this today. What that means is that as we go up the chain of command here in the Pittsburgh district, I answer to Evan, Evan answers on up, and at the top of our chain there is an actual green suit colonel that runs the district. He's responsible for 720 employees, somewhere in that area, that answer ultimately up the chain of command to him. We are organized, we'll look at all this in a minute, organized geographically by watersheds, not by states, not by voting, but by watersheds within the United States. And we have, at any given time, 4 districts overseas. So what's all that look like? Page 4. Yes, that was me many years ago with the colonel. That's what, it's what our district looks like. And a lot of people hear Army, Corps of Engineers, and they think, oh, you're in the Army, you wear a uniform, you're in the Army. No, I'm a civilian, as judged by the suit and tie there. But we are an Army agency under the Department of the Army. Next sheet. Broken down by divisions. And this is where things start to get a little bit interesting because we use this terminology without thinking about it. It flows out, but to some people it doesn't. If you take a look at all those divisions, they are watershed related. We are in the pink. The Great Lakes and Ohio River Division is us. One more sheet breaks it down into our district. That's the division broken down and blown up, I'm sorry. And then within that, yes, we're moving quick, is our district. Okay, so this is the meat and potatoes that I was trying to get to. This is the Pittsburgh district. It's sometimes called the Headwaters district because we effectively manage all the water for the Ohio River, the Allegheny and Monongahela River. There's 16 flood control dams, 23 locks and dams on the rivers, and that constitutes the 700 and some odd employees that I was talking about that make up our district. Now, if you look at that, you can just about draw a line through the middle of it. We divide it north and south. So in the north, we have lakes that you guys are familiar with, like Shenango over in Ohio. We have Berlin, Mosquito, Michael J. Kerwin. Shenango here. We run a dam north of here, Union City, which we'll talk about in a minute. Kinzua, Tionesta, and East Branch are all our northern area dams that we take care of in this district. And then if you go down south, some of the big ones are like Youghiogheny Lake, Stonewall Jackson, way down in west, that's as far as we go down in West Virginia, down in that realm. So Evan is the operations manager for those northern 8 lakes. And it just so happens that Woodcock is centrally located, so it's pretty convenient in some cases like today, that he's here at Woodcock with us, but he oversees all those lakes altogether. Each lake has an individual staff, he oversees the managers of those staffs. So when we talk about the district, that's who we are. That's the Pittsburgh district. Going on to the next one. What we do, so all those lakes pretty much have one or all of these 5 primary responsibilities. At Union City, at Woodcock and Union City, our primary mission is flood control. These dams were built to control floods. The interesting story I like to tell people, that not too many people know, is that when the dams were built, the Corps of Engineers recognized that we needed to do something about flooding, all over western Pennsylvania, but Meadville, and to help affect the Allegheny River. They designed a dam to put on French Creek that would have effectively flooded Cambridge Springs. It would have wiped Cambridge Springs out. So it goes out for public comment, and as you can imagine, it gets thrown back from public comment, and they say no. So the Corps comes out with Plan B and say, all right, we understand that, that's fine. Let's build 3 little dams. We'll build one on French Creek, way up north, which is our Union City Dam. We'll build one on Woodcock Creek Lake, and we'll build one on Muddy Creek, which, for whatever reason, never got built. So instead of one big dam, they opted with 3, and 2 of the 3 actually got built. Union City had a dam at it. Union City is very unique in that it's a dry bed reservoir, so it's got 8 by 12 opening in it with no gates. So as the water, it's like your bathtub. If you're dumping 20 gallons of water in your bathtub and it can only let 5 out, it's gonna back up, and then it slowly releases it. So there's no set pool up there. There was a staff there for about a year, staff and manager, and they realized that we don't really need you here. They moved everything to Woodcock, and we manage it from Woodcock. It's got its own appropriation, its own budget, but we manage it out of this office. So after flood control, next one for Woodcock is recreation and environmental. Those go kind of hand in hand. And it's important to understand that flood control is the primary. The others come only at the expense of flood control. We're not going to be sure that you can launch your boat from the boat ramp if we're flooding Pittsburgh downstream. That's not exactly how it works. But we do have a recreation mission, and we do have an environmental mission. And at Woodcock, the environmental mission is kind of neat. We make sure that there's enough flow and that it's coming from the appropriate column in the water, essentially, to support the trout in Woodcock Stream. The dissolved oxygen's right and the temperature's right to make this the trout fishery that it is, and then the fish commission is willing to stock. So those are the 3 missions here: flood control, recreation, and environmental, also at Union City Dam. And then the other 2, navigation and construction. Construction is a big can of worms. I mean, that's a big part of what the Corps does. It's not part of what we do here at Woodcock. Navigation is pretty interesting, because if you go back to this map and look at those 16 dams, those 16 dams follow me on this one. So they control in some capacity the Allegheny and the Monongahela River. Prior to those dams being built, in August or September, you could almost walk across the point in Pittsburgh. They release 80% of the water that goes by the point in Pittsburgh and keeps it navigable. So when a barge captain loads his barge somewhere on the Ohio River, he knows he's going to have 13 feet of water in the channel. How does he know that? Because the Corps of Engineers is manages the reservoirs and makes appropriate releases, so that when he pulls out, he doesn't have to worry about bottoming out. He's got 13 feet of channel to deal with, and that's 80%, 8 of every 10 gallons that go by the point in Pittsburgh in August, September-ish, when low water season, comes out of these flood control reservoirs. The Lewis and Clark journals are awesome. They talk about, you can almost hear them rumbling about pushing their keel boat down the pole, hitting riffles, having to unload everything, push it over the riffles, and load it back on, push it another 200 yards, unload everything, push it through the riffles, load it back on. That was before the locks and dams. So that's, when you see the navigation part of that, that's what we're talking about, that's what we do. Keep rolling here. All right, so just some stats on Woodcock. 1,700 acres, 300 of it's the lake, so there's 1,400 acres. We lease some of it out, mostly the game lands in the conservation district. Cost $18 million to build. It's north of $100 million in savings right now, which is pretty significant. If you break that down, it's like $2 million a year or something like savings. And it doesn't print out very well, but that's a neat picture of the dam just before impoundment. So this is just about a finished dam. And if you look at it, the area to the right will be the lake. The left is all downstream, as you see it today. You can see the control tower, I guess is what really sets it off. The Union City Dam. Oh, I guess I should mention that Woodcock was started in '71. Union City was started in '68. So they actually built Union City first. And as they were wrapping it up, broke ground on Woodcock. And so it's kind of a 1-2 punch. Covers a much bigger area. You know, it's saved $71 million, so it's been pretty cost significant as well. You know, only $14 million built, you're saving almost $100 million so far to date. So for these dams that aren't even quite 50 or just 50 years old, that's quite a bit of money. And then there's a picture of it. And the final picture, because part of what we do is water safety at Woodcock Lake. I'm not going to let you guys go without counting you as my water safety contacts for the day. Pretty much one of every 2 people that die in a boating accident of any sort, alcohol is involved in some capacity. So my message today is, please don't drink and boat. It's that simple. Okay, I know that was very quick. I went over a lot of information there. Other questions?
How does Tamarack fit into your plan?
How does Tamarack fit in? In a nutshell, it doesn't.
that's Army Corps too, isn't it?
No, sir, Tamarack is a state lake.
Okay. I thought you guys built it, rebuilt it or something.
No, that's a very common misnomer. We had almost nothing to do with that dam since the inception. Way back when it was first designed, some of our engineers may have looked at the plans and stuff, but it's not core money, it wasn't core engineers, it's not core plans, drawings. We've had 99.9% nothing to do with it. Although, that said, I hear it's doing well. They're filling it up and restocking plans and everything's going just scheduled.
Joe, what about that section near Eagle High School, between the high school and Bender Field, that is related to flood mitigation?
Rainbow Lake.
Rainbow Lake, and then that concrete area, is that Army Corps controlled or?
Not to the best of my knowledge. Now, the Corps of Engineers does do, the first one that comes to my mind is in Punxsutawney. There's channelization projects that we do in communities that get hit with high flash flood water type effects. They go in and they channelize it, they catch all that, they make sure that it can hold the capacity and push it through. And that's kind of the same thing, but I don't think that's ours.
Does the Army Corps of Engineers have checks on this dam, being it's an earthen dam, so it doesn't spring a leak?
Yeah, so daily, weekly, monthly, annually, 5 years. So every day there's certain things we look for. Every week we look at things. When water levels get to a certain height, we take barometer readings, which tell us what the groundwater's doing. There's 2 ways a dam will fail. It either gets uplift, it gets lifted up and then shoved downstream, or it gets overtopping and causes erosion and comes back. So we read the barometers, all those pipes on the face of Woodcock Dam. If you've ever walked out there and you see all these little 2.5-inch pipes sticking up, those are nothing more than the well at your house. It's the same thing. They just go down in the ground and we read that groundwater to make sure they're okay. So barometers, monthly, and then we have what we call periodic and intermediate inspections, where engineers and geologists and all the ologists, all the specialists descend on the dam at least once a year, and then every 5 years there's people from outside the district that come with a fresh set of eyes and look at it to make sure. They number those, it's called a DSAC rating from 1 to 5, with 5 being the safest, right? It was 4 and they upped it to 5, and Woodcock is a DSAC 5 rating, so it's a very safe dam. There's almost no issues whatsoever with it. And for 48, 49 years old, we'll take that. Part of that is the maintenance and the upkeep. You know, people see us mow to the face of that dam and they say, wow, that really looks great. It does look great, but we're not doing it for that. We're doing it for the maintenance. Keep woody stuff that would put roots down in their house, keep the groundhogs out, stuff like that. There's dam safety measures that we take.
Okay.
When that was constructed, was it a 50-year dam or considered 100-year? I just didn't know how long it will last or...
How long it will last is a very open-ended discussion to have. It's slated as a 100-year dam.
Okay.
But there's Corps of Engineer dams that are over 100 years that are still in service and doing quite well. Again, that's the safety aspect of it. They stay, we have a whole division, I should mention that we have a district office. I talked about having a colonel and the green shooters are in the district office, the 21st and 27th floor. Somewhere in the federal building downtown is our district office that helps with all these lakes. And in that is an entire dam safety section of engineers. That's what they do. They look at these, they look at those barometer readings, we get surveys done with points that were put in when the dam was built to make sure there's no downstream shifting or no lifting. So it's, yeah, there's a lot of real detailed measurements that take place.
So Joe, the $1 million question, can you explain to us what happened this last event? I get it, Commissioner, but
You'd like to cut that one to me. Sure, let's talk a little bit about the unexpected drop in the pool incident in March. Without getting into too much technical detail or background, essentially, there was an equipment malfunction, a sensor within the dam, that gave us some erroneous readings. Because of heavy ice coverage, we couldn't use any kind of visual keys to determine if that was correct or not. We had no reason to believe it wasn't correct. So what ended up happening was more water was let out than we normally would. The good news is we recognized it, and the pool recovered to where it needed to be within about 3 weeks. Our assessments so far, the water quality was not affected either in the lake or downstream in Woodcock Creek or in French Creek, which is good. We are still working with our partners in the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission on assessing the health of the fishery. I mean, this is a world-class fishery, and we want to make sure if it has been impacted, and early indications are there was some impact, that we're going to get it to recover to be a world-class fishery again. So we're working with them. There have been some plans that are being developed now on stocking, on habitat improvement, and then we ourselves have done some internal work. Of course, when anything like this happens, you have to do an after-action review on it. We've had a summit between our operations engineering folks to make sure that we try to prevent something like this ever happening again. We've done a full top-down review of all of our processes and procedures. We've already made some changes to our operations and management plans at the project levels, not just this one, but all of them, as well as in our district water management processes downtown. And we are in the process of implementing a plan for additional redundancy at all of our lakes, so that an equipment malfunction like this, if it were to happen again, we would be able to capture it before the consequences that occur. The good news is it had nothing to do with the operational machinery. The gates worked fine, everything was okay. It was just kind of a sensory glitch. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Anyone else? Can't let them off this easy, can we?
But I'm surprised how many questions about the campground.
You brought it up.
Yeah, I brought it up, so we're going to be prepared to talk about it. Some of you may have noticed. So the campground was closed last summer. All we were able to operate with the funding we had was the boat launch and what we call the day use areas, the picnic shelters and the swim beach. This summer, we originally had planned to do the same. We did get the opportunity to find some additional funding, and because we understand that campground is an important part of this community and the economic health of this community, and an opportunity for the public to have access to public lands, we took a step that was a little bit of a risk for us, and that was opening the campground on the weekends, us operating it. It's operating, well, what we call primitive sites, which means we're not providing electricity or water or sewer. People are just allowed to set up there and camp. And we've been seeing 10 to 15% occupancy rates on the weekends, and we're doing it on weekends only. We are, of course, working with an eye towards the future. We still believe, and this is because we are vested members of this community, and our team there are vested members of the community. I live up the hill in Vernon. And so we want to continue to provide that service to the public and to this community. And so we are looking at different options. There's a number of them on the table. Anything from us operating it completely, all the way to leasing it out to a third party, and anything in between. We are always looking for partnership opportunities, so that's my plug right there. Anybody have any ideas? We're happy to hear from you. Woodcock Township has actually been an excellent partner so far, coming up with some ideas for us and actually helping us out and last year. And so we'd like to continue to not only work with them, but to grow those partnership opportunities. And as I said, we're trying right now, one of the things I have my team working on is an overall and conditional assessment of all of the facilities and infrastructure there, with an eye on the possibility of getting maybe some help in an infrastructure supplemental bill that we could do some upgrades there. I mean, we've already started to upgrade restrooms and the roofs of the big pavilions and things of that nature. So we're looking very carefully at the water system there too. So there's more to come on that. We hope, I'm an optimist. We hope there's going to be a bright future at Woodcock and the campground there, and I would love to see it, because like I said, I'm a member of this community, and I hear from people, all the people that know me and know I'm from program engineers. They see me in Walmart or they see me in Giant Eagle and, hey, what's going on with that campground? Yeah, okay, I know. So yes, we would like it to continue to be a positive part of the economic well-being of this community.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great.
We do have one more thing before we go. I guess I'll do this now. So, as I said, we completed the partnership in the last year. As you all know, that campground was operated by our friends at the county and did a great job there for almost 50 years. Understandably, times being what they were, challenges being what they were, they came to us and tried to work with us on any kind of possible opportunities going forward. Unfortunately, in the end, they had to back out, and we were left with it to figure out the way forward operationally. One thing that did happen was our friends at Woodcock Township approached us. They recognized just how important that campground really is to their community, and offered opportunities for partnership, small ones, but any opportunity for partnership we're happy to be part of. And so they put some money in their budget to be able to provide to us what we refer to as contributed services or in-kind services. And last year they provided out of their budget personnel and equipment to really assist us in a need there, which was improving and enhancing drainage throughout the park. It's very important because, as some of you may know if you've driven through there, the roadways are in not the best of shape, and that's partly, a big part, because as the drainage starts to get worse, you get the freeze and thaw cycle, which isn't good for the roadways there. So they helped us by coming out there, spending a couple of weeks, improving that drainage, and really extending the life of our roadways there. And so in recognition of that, we get to do this from time to time. This is a certificate from the Department of the Army. This is a public service commendation medal presented to Woodcock Township in recognition of their donation of in-kind services in the form of personnel and equipment to complete drainage restoration and improvements at Woodcock Lake Park. Their efforts exhibit a commitment to providing safe public access and recreational opportunities while proving to be a partner to the Pittsburgh District and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Signed by our commanding officer, District Engineer, Colonel Andrew J. Short. This was from April, but given COVID restrictions, this was the first chance we actually had a chance to give it. I believe are you the representative for Woodcock? Jason, would you like to join me here so I can give this to you? And if anyone wants to take a picture, it would be good to do. I didn't know. Thank you for your assistance and being a good partner with us. Here you go, Joe. showed this to the folks downtown Pittsburgh, you'll be all happy.
Awesome, thank you.
Great, thank you. So take that back, put that on the wall, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Proud of it. Thank you.
Do some more for you.
Hopefully so, that's what we're looking for the future. So there you go, I'm dropping it on the table. Anybody has any other ideas or any way to help, we're happy to work with you. And
Thank you. Thank you. Very interesting. All right. If no one has anything else but then, we shall go on to our business. We talked about before about a tire event, and we're sort of going to hold off on that, right? Because there's no money available on tire event.
Not for this
Not for
year,
this
it's a
year.
little too late in the season already. So potentially next year, if people, the tower committee wants to meet and talk about it, that's what is Sean Donahue's recommendation.
Okay. Also, VOTEC is still interested in having us there if it's available because of the COVID, I don't know. But we can still sort of plan for that in the future, where we can go through and see and maybe bring some ideas up on how maybe we can help the VOTEC on different programs and stuff.
They
Anything?
prefer we come in the winter time
Right.
during school season.
Right.
So that's why that would be something for like January or
Yeah.
next April,
Hopefully.
some, once things,
I know they're still interested in us
Yeah.
coming, so. Anything else for other business?
I think for our next meeting, we had about being at the REC building. There was kind of a talk, a few people had said maybe have REC host it. They've been a long time, they used to do our administrative stuff for the COG. And then they have some solar panel information, and so that would kind of be a nice thing to make use of their facility. This is beautiful coming here, it looks really nice. I mean, thank you to Woodcock, but I think maybe getting around a little bit, that was
think
kind
that's
of
a
your
good idea,
recommendation.
It's nice to see other places.
Yeah. So maybe Northwestern REC next
Yes,
month,
sounds good.
and then maybe
We're,
January or something, maybe even for the tour of VOTEC.
Right. It'd be nice if we could get that, because like I said, I think some people have some good ideas that might help them in the future on different programs that are available or not available that can become available. All right, anything else? If not, our next meeting is October 21st, 2021 at the Northwestern Rec Building. I need a motion to adjourn. Okay, we're going to stay here forever. Chris, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Jill. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.